Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I am back with another video about downsizing. Now, you may remember I did a lot of videos the end of last year in particular where I sold off a bunch of my collection, and I was very ruthless about deciding, like, what am I going to keep, what am I going to get rid of, what's really important to my collection. I used a lot of that money to buy new comics, new to me, but basically, I sold about 3,000 issues, and I ended up buying back about maybe 100 sort of keys that I wanted, stuff like that. Well, today I'm kind of going in the opposite direction a little bit because what I'm doing is I'm actually, again, looking at my collection, deciding which things are important to me to collect, and I'm selling off a bunch of stuff. But this time I'm not going to be using that money to buy more back issues. I'm actually going to be using whatever money I raise in order to make comics. So, as you know, I just finished a Kickstarter for issue 4 of my series of Crime Busters. And people were very generous, a lot of great support. Thank you very much to everyone here for your support. But I'm kind of having a little bit of a midlife crisis where, I've had some health issues. I've had some personal stuff going on, and whenever I'm not making my comics, I kind of feel like I'm wasting time. Like, how much time do I have left? I want to be doing stories. I want to be writing. I want to be drawing. I want to be making comics. I don't want to be working, for instance. So the only real solution is to try and figure out a way to get my comic book creation up to the point where I'm making enough money so that I can at least do it part-time, make it more of a career, so I'm doing stuff I love and I don't feel like I'm wasting whatever's left of my life. I just turned 49, so it's not like I'm that old, but it's definitely been on my mind. And so what I'm doing is gone through my collection. I've pulled out a bunch of keys that I in some cases really love, in some cases I'm a little more indifferent to, but a bunch of keys that are not in titles that I collect anymore or necessarily characters that I collect anymore. They're just sort of cool books that I have, and I'm selling them. I'm going to take all of the money from these books, and I'm going to use that money to hire artists so I can do more stories and get comics out faster. With the Crime Busters, I just have been drawing it myself, and it takes so long to draw that I'm only able to put out like one issue a year, and I need to be putting out like multiple issues a year. I want to do at least 3 issues of Crime Busters, but I also want to do other stories as well. And there's just no way for me to do it if I'm drawing myself. So I have to hire artists to tell the stories I want to tell, and I have to have money to hire artists, and I don't want to take any money out of like my savings or my retirement or anything like that. So that's where my comic collection comes in. So I'm selling comics to make comics, and that's what I'm trying to keep in mind when I end up selling off these books, is that first of all, a lot of these books I've had for a long time, so I've had decades of enjoyment of them, but also what's going to be replacing my collection are things that I've created, things that I've written, things that I've worked on, stuff that I've drawn. Like, I'm selling these old comics to make something new in the world. So I'm very excited. I'm also sort of a little melancholy. I'm really excited the opportunity that this money is going to provide me to make more cool comics, and hopefully I'll be sharing that journey with you guys here. But of course, I love these comics. I love these back issues. Some of them in particular have been kind of difficult to get rid of. So I wanted to do a little video where I show some of the comics I'm getting rid of. I'm going to talk about why I'm selling these particular comics off. And so here we go. Strange Tales 169. It's the first appearance of Brother Voodoo. I've had a couple different copies of this over the years, and I think Brother Voodoo is really cool, but I don't collect it. I do have an interest in sort of the comics, the history of black characters in comics, and Brother Voodoo is an important one. I will say that I already sold my Lobo #1, so I don't have that for this video because I've already sent it out. But I sold the Lobo #1 and the Brother Voodoo first appearance. A lot of Bronze Age first appearances I'm selling. Marvel Premiere #15. Again, I've had a couple different copies of this. I do like Iron Fist. I don't collect Iron Fist. I like the character more than the stories. So this is a situation where I don't really need this anymore. And maybe I'll find another one. Sensation Comics 66. It's the only Golden Age Wonder Woman book that I have, and while I am keeping a big section of my Wonder Woman collection, I'm not keeping all of it. I'm just keeping the storylines and the runs that I like. So this is kind of an outlier, as it's just like, it's cool to own a Golden Age Wonder Woman book, but it doesn't, it's not really a central part of my collection. It's not even a central part of my Wonder Woman collection. So that's going to be sold as well. Journey into Mystery 103, First Enchantress, the First Executioner. As you know, I've told this many times, I got to the point, at one point, where I was only missing 4 issues of Thor / Journey into Mystery to complete the run. I realized I was never going to complete it because I didn't love it enough to spend the money I would need to spend to get a Journey into Mystery 83. So I ended up selling the collection. When I did that, I kept a handful of books. I traded a lot of them away. I've only got a couple left, and we're going to see another one here in a second, because when I'm done here, I'm just going to have one left. For now, anyway, I'm keeping 102, the first appearance of Sif, but 103 is going to be sold, and likewise, this is one that I really don't want to sell. This is one of the ones that's hard for me to get rid of, but I've sold a lot of these. I've already sold, and so I'm doing this video just before I pack them up to send off. Journey Mystery 89, with its all-time classic Jack Kirby cover. Again, I've had 2 of these, so I wish I still had my undercopy. I sold it a long time ago for $25, which at the time I actually made $5 on, and I had the nicer one, so I didn't need it. But now I wish I had that undercopy so I could sell this and still have a copy. But I don't have it anymore, so that's gone. I've also sold this. I was very close to going the other direction with this. You know, I had about a third of the run of Tomb of Dracula. I decided to sell them off and keep just this one, but I was looking at getting a number 2 to go with it because I love the cover of number 2. And instead I'm going the other direction, so I sold this. One of my all-time favorite covers. I love the logo, I love the red frame, and I love the Neil Adams art. It's so great. But you know, again, I've had all of these books that I've shown you for at least a decade. I mean, with the exception of the Strange Tales and the Marvel Premiere, but that's because I had other copies that I owned before those. Also being sold, another Bronze Age first appearance, another black character. It's Luke Cage, Hero for Hire number 1. I haven't shown it yet, but you'll see it in a future haul video. My wife just got me for my birthday the Luke Cage Hero for Hire Omnibus, which has the first 47 issues of his solo series, plus annual number 1. So that actually costs less for the whole omnibus than this is super low grade copy. So that is something I'm selling. All-Star Comics 58. Now this one I just got a couple years ago. You remember the haul video where I got this? Again, another book where I've owned multiple copies, but even though another subset of my collection is female heroes, it's not like a core collection, and it's just sort of like a loose, like, I try and pick them up here and there, but it's not like a real focus. So I'm going to let this go, the first Power Girl. Similarly, this was probably the hardest for me to sell of the one, with the exception that I'm also going to be selling, I'm not showing it here, my Marvel Premiere number 5, the first Ghost Rider. That one legitimately was difficult. This was also very difficult. I probably got more comments on this comic than anything else in my top 50 video. It's Wow Comics 38 with one of the greatest comic book covers of all time. I've owned this copy for 9 years, so I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I didn't pay very much for it at the time, so it's appreciated in value to the point where I no longer feel comfortable really holding on to it at this value. You know, if this was a book that was a $200 book, I would probably keep it. But it's 4 figures, low 4 figures now, and so I've sold that. That was a tough one to get rid of. I mentioned the Marvel Spotlight 5. When I sold the rest of my Ghost Rider collection, I kept the Marvel Spotlight 5 and the Ghost Rider #1, but this I've just sold. It's a copy that looks like it's like an 8.5, but it has a couple pinholes in the cover, so on a technical level, it's more like a 5.5. That's gone. And then finally, this may come as a surprise to a lot of you, but I am selling a couple of my big romance books as well. When I was trying to put together a complete run of all the DC romance, I got some of the romance keys that I didn't necessarily care about, but I needed for that run. And since I've decided not to do a complete run of all of them, there's a couple of those that I don't care that much about. And of course, the big one is this, Secret Hearts 83. Of course, I did a whole video about how excited I was when I got this, but that was, even in that video, you can see I was on the fence because I really have very negative feelings about Roy Lichtenstein. This, of course, is the Sorcerer's Drowning Girl, which he, just blatantly copied from The Art of Tony Abruzzo. And so this I've sold as well. I'm not a big Lichtenstein fan. I do still have a couple others of his works that I may also sell, but again, this is such a high value book that, given that I have mixed feelings about it to begin with, it was kind of ultimately a little bit of a no-brainer to sell it back off and get that money to go towards making comics. So there's a few others that I'm selling as well, but those are some of the bigger ones that are gone. A lot of them I've already sold off, and the handful that haven't already sold will be going up on eBay. By the time you see this video, they'll already be there and maybe sold as well. So I'm really excited. I've already got an artist lined up. We have a verbal agreement. I'm just sending him the contract. By the time you see this, he'll be working on Crime Busters 5. So I'm transitioning from doing everything on Crime Busters to just writing to just doing everything but the art. But I'm really excited for the opportunity to, instead of putting out Crime Busters once a year, to get it out like 3 or 4 times a year with an artist who's much faster than I am and whose art I think is better than mine. So that's very exciting to me. It's really sad to see these go, but you can't take it with you. I have enjoyed some of these books for a long time. Some of these books I've had, most of these books I've had for 10 or more years, but some of them, like the Ghost Rider 1, I've had for 30 years. So I've gotten my enjoyment out of them. And, like I said, getting older, I'm feeling that middle-agedness and feeling like I can't take it with me. So I want to enjoy things while I can. And the way I'm going to enjoy these the most now is to move them on to someone else that loves them, use that money to make new stuff. So let me know what you think down below. Not an easy video for me to make, not easy for me to sell these, but I'm very excited to make comics because I love making comics. And I'm still going to be collecting comics. I'm still going to be buying new stuff. You're still going to be seeing haul videos. I'm still going to be showing you my stuff. But you may be seeing more videos about making comics because I'm hoping to be making more and more of them. So there'll be more reason to be making those. So let me know what you think down below. Just a sad farewell to these wonderful comics.